Welcome back to another video. Today we are in the Open Ultra League and we want to be running the Registeel with Giratina and Guzzlord. So Steel Double Dragon in the back. We're going to see if we can figure out some team wins with this. We are running the Dragon Breath on our Giratina, so keep that in mind, making it a true double dragon user in the back. Here we're going to be staying in as we are going to be able to resist all of the moves from this Rayquaza. Looks like they decided to just sack it, and then we immediately switch out into our Giratina. The Giratina is going to be able to resist or only take neutral Stone Edge from this Cobalion, but we are going to be only throwing Shadow Sneaks ourselves as that's the only neutral move. So it looks like our opponent is just staying in as well. Looks like they don't want to see this Giratina in the back. So we're going to be able to throw another Shadow Sneak there. It looks like it ends up being the Charizard in the back. This Charizard is going to be able to... Okay, well, they're going to throw a move. I thought they were going to farm us down right there. Luckily, we do have the Guzzlord in the back. This Guzzlord is quite tanky, and it is able to take out this Charizard no problem. We just one shield, farm down, and then we're just going to be able to throw a ton of moves back at this Cobalion here. They have to shield, so even though these are resistant moves, all the moves that we're going to be throwing are resisted. It looks like we go for the farm down. Looks like all we have to do is just shield, and then our fast move goes through right there for the KO. So GG's to our opponent right there. Double dragons in the back end up overwhelming that team right there, even though they never switched out at any point. It was basically just straight matchup for matchup. So here we have a switch into the Golisopod. We're going to switch into the Guzzlord here. The Guzzlord is going to take a Aero Ace. So we do find out that this Golisopod does not have X Scissor, which bodes well for our Guzzlord here, as we don't have to shield anything at this point. We know that this is going to be another Aero Ace, and we're going to be able to farm down. So this Guzzlord here is as low as it can get, and we are going to be able to throw this Crunch here. Even though that Crunch is resisted, it does about 5 to 7% because of the Shadow. So look at that, just like that, it is already in the yellow, and looks like our opponent ends up revealing that they have Swampert in the bag, but because we have the Dragon Breath user, we are going to be able to outpace them and just basically outshield them all the way to the farm down. So next game here, we are going to have Dragonite versus this Registeel. So obviously we don't want to be taking superpowers a bunch, but we can tank one. We do anticipate this being the superpower and Jib. Looks like that's exactly what happens. Now they're going to be inclined to shield because they look like they're staying in. So we're going to try to catch a superpower here. Our opponent does throw the superpower. It is double resisted at that point, but then they actually reveal that they have a Tapu Fini. So this Tapu Fini, even though it is going to be able to throw potential Moonblast, it is also throwing neutral fast moves. So both of us are just basically getting to their hard-hitting move. We do decide to shield, ends up being the Moonblast, so that was a great shield by us. We don't get the debuff, so that's even better for us. And then we're going to race to try to get to another Shadow Sneak here. Our opponent ends up getting to another move. We're going to have to let this go. Ends up being the Moonblast. And now we have this Tapu Fini low enough to where we just have to throw a Focus Blast. This Focus Blast does take out the Tapu Fini. We anticipate the Dragonite to come back in, and looks like our opponent ends up having the Golisopod in the back here. This Golisopod, will it have the X Scissor? Moment of truth. If it has X Scissor, it's going to be a tough game to win. Looks like they do have the X Scissor right there. Our opponent is going to let this Dragon Claw go, so we have to shield here and farm down. And then the game plan here is to try to get to one Dragon Claw here to get this last shield. And then we're going to try our best to get to a Focus Blast, but unfortunately they already have residual energy and they're going to be able to throw a superpower right there. And even though that they are debuffed, they are going to be able to survive right there. So well played by my opponent right there. Unfortunate for us that we were not able to flip any of those matchups right there. So next game here, we have the Shadow Venusaur. This Shadow Venusaur we are triple good against. So here we're going to let this Frenzy Plant go, and then we're going to switch out into the Giratina. This Giratina is running the Dragon Breath, so it would have been pressuring that Venusaur quite well. Here we know that we are going to be able to survive this Zap Cannon. We do get no debuff right there, so that's a great start. This Giratina is just going to only be able to throw these Shadow Sneaks at this point. Even though we're throwing resisted Dragon Breath, it is chunking away. This Registeel all of a sudden is already in the yellow, possibly in the red after this. Yep, perfect. And our opponent is going to try to get to another Zap Cannon here. This Zap Cannon goes through, doesn't KO, so we just farm it down, and then we're just going to save this energy for whatever's in the bag because we know that we have 3 things pretty good against this Venusaur. So looks like our opponent ends up staying in, throwing a Frenzy Plant at this Guzzlord. So we shield the first one because they were just staying in, and here we're just going to farm it down. Our opponent ends up revealing that they have the Shadow Charizard in the back. So this Charizard in the back is going to be facing an uphill battle because this Guzzlord is loaded with a ton of energies, and even getting to 3 Dragon Claws. So just like that, our opponent has no shields. We could shield here, but let's see what we do. We decided to let the Dragon Claw go. We're going to come back in with our Registeel, throw the Zap Cannon at this Charizard, and that is GG's right there. So that team right there, a little bit interesting, but we were able to figure it out because we had such a great lead. In fact, we had 3 things really good against that Venusaur, so we just basically saved a bunch of energy and saved it for later. Gyarados is interesting. The Gyarados is not great for our backline here, but we're going to try to get a sneaky shield here because we know that they're going to shield the fact that they're staying in. Here we're going to try to catch a move. Our opponent could be throwing Aqua Tail or Crunch. It ends up being the Crunch, and we get the debuff. So unfortunately for us, we do not get lucky, and they are going to be able to survive this Dragon Claw right here. We are able to get to another Dragon Claw to chip away at this Golisopod. So this Golisopod is in range of a Zap Cannon. Let's see what we end up going in with. We decided going with the Registeel because we were very close to a move. Our opponent ends up shielding, so they get debuffed, and they are out of shields now. So they throw this Liquidation. They also get the debuff on us. Here we're going to decide to let this go. We're going to put 2 shields with the Guzzlord and see if we can win this game here. They tend to Tentacruel in the back here, so we are going to be probably debuffed here. This is probably Acid Spray. Yep, Acid Spray does go through, which is annoying because now we don't have a chance to reset this debuff. But our opponent is gonna have to throw another move. Ends up being the Scald. We do. Oh my! We shield the Scald and we get the attack debuff too. So not only are we debuffed in defense, but we're debuffed in attack, and that probably causes this Golisopod to survive long enough to throw a move right there. And then also this Gyarados was able to survive that Dragon Claw right there. If we didn't get that debuff, we would have had a chance to win this game here, but unfortunately not the case. So check out this team if you haven't already, and let us know if you enjoyed the video.